SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
A Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure monosity.
What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown.
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
Our host, Neil Simpson.
If one light goes out, they all go out.
Filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however you are joining us. This is the I Speak Jeep podcast presented by SFJ4x4.com. My name is Neil with SFJ 4x4 Simpson Family Jeeps, joined in Grandma's couch studio
by that guy in that hoodie over there. I don't know how he's got a hoodie on.
He wore the hoodie last week when it was like 1,100 degrees.
Right.
And it was cool at his desk, and then he went outside to do some work, and then he was stuck in the hoodie.
That was rough. The sun was beating on me, and I'm like trying to talk to this customer.
I'm worried about his circulation at this point.
Meh.
The Italian Stallion.
Jeff Shermani.
Our producer, our illustrious producer and front-end associate.
And then over there, we've got that guy in the I Speak Jeep
Guy in black.
sign.
Johnny Cash, you wearing for the broken and beaten down?
Something. I'm feeling that way.
Oh. Well, that's the mad scientist, Scott Brown.
Even got my black,
Full of positivity over there.
Yeah.
black Bubba
Scott's
cup.
been sick. Savage has been sick.
I blame Davey.
Yeah, Davey did it. Jeff and I are holding out strong without the crud infecting us. And yet we're stuck in this closed space with Scott, which doesn't
They have
make
the
me
fan
feel...
blowing at me, so they'll definly be sick next week.
Yep.
Trying to move the air around. I
Literally
just
said he was going to do that. I'm like, so that we get sick because you're blowing the air right at us?
I was trying to move the air around. Well, first of all, it was hot in here, so it was a little stagnant, so I need to turn the fan on.
I didn't think so, but okay.
But
Hey, Jeff.
there really might be something wrong with his circulation.
I'm saying.
So anyways, Nate got first this morning, and then Billy Joe saying good morning, and then Nate thinking that we started early, but we actually went live right at 10:19. We just had our starting soon screen up.
We're actually professionals.
Sometimes.
I'll put that
Let's
on
not
me.
I was going to say, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. So, and then we got Daddy Jeep saying, sup fellows, Bantam trails are looking good from our work day yesterday, although a bit dusty. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's dusty anymore, or I don't know if Bantam's getting rain.
I don't know if they
plenty.
got the rain that we got.
Roy's saying good morning, buds. We got Rank 1 Off-Road and 4x4 saying good morning. Jaga Jeeper says good morning. Andrew Fornell says good morning, gentlemen. Joe O'Brien says morning. And Robert Seaman, well, hello there.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning to everybody. And if you are listening to us in your ear holes at a later date, first and foremost, that is the broad majority of our listenership. We thank you so very, very much. But understand you too can join us live nearly every Monday morning at 10:19 a.m. You can jump in the comments, share, collaborate, have a conversation with folks there. And as you can try to dethrone Nate and Joe from the, getting first as far as the morning greetings are concerned. So, definitely prioritize that at some point in the future. Today, we are going to be, I'm kicking a dead horse. That is just what we're doing.
Are we going to be beating it by the end of the episode then?
Well, we're beating it now. I mean,
Well, the problem is Neil got his feelings hurt because he did a YouTube video on a topic he's very passionate about, and nobody watched it.
It tanked.
Nobody watched it.
It tanked. And
I think probably our worst video this year.
probably. It was even worse than Scott's.
Scott's did a lot better than yours.
So here's the thing. Yeah, and I don't have a great explanation, but we did a video, and it was on flat towing your Jeep behind an RV. And I really like how we set up customers. And we work with an industry partner, Rock Hard 4x4, and we take a very specialized approach, allowing you to retain the kind of the off-road nature of your Jeep. Because if you were to go to an RV shop, which is the most popular way to get a Jeep set up for flat towing behind an RV, they don't care. They don't do environmentally sealed connections. They just put a standard base plate on there. Now you have stuff that's low slung and impedes your ability to go off the beaten path once you get to your destination. I have a lot of big feelings on it. And I thought, man, this is really cool because we use a lot of cool equipment and a particular recipe. And I want to tell people about this. And I want to tell them kind of, where flat towing came from and this, that, and the third. And then everybody was like, yeah, we don't care. I don't know if it was a crappy video. I don't.
Because you have boring flat towing. Flat towing is supposed to get your adrenaline going. The car's doing weird stuff behind you, or you beat all odds and you towed it, 1,100 miles like you weren't supposed to. There's people in the other car. You passed a cop. I mean, that's
100%.
what flat towing is.
So today, in the expectation of kicking this dead horse, we are going to expand upon some aspects of flat towing for your infotainment purposes.
I'm sorry.
I'm here to try to make it
So
entertaining, I think.
the challenge is, are we going to get more downloads and listeners on this episode than you got on your YouTube?
We'll finally
video?
get the penguins to listen to us.
And if you want to let us know how you feel about flat towing, you can go on and leave us a review and try to get the
Maybe not
best.
about flat towing. How about our podcast?
Well,
let's leave the flat
if you
towing
need the
subject
flat
out of
toe,
it.
though, and you don't want to do it with the most fanciest stuff, you can use the awesomest purplest strap ever.
Oh,
by leaving the review.
You mean what flat towing started as? Use the
Yeah.
purple strap for that.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
You can get the equipment required.
I have a story about that.
I do too.
So that's what we're going to be doing today, folks. We're going to be trying to kind of expand upon and entertain through processes of some historical contextualization and moving us forward into kind of the RV aspect. But we're going to try to avoid the technical stuff that I apparently put everybody to sleep, or that they just flat out didn't care about when I did this before. And so, sir, do you have some history?
I do. So there isn't a whole lot of factual information other than I did get some really cool stories on a race hot rod thing about all the people doing inappropriate towing with their hot rods. Well, and I will get to that in a second, but a couple facts first. The first trailer by Alexander Winton in 1898 was a modified touring car towing a cart with a platform because he needed to haul 2 cars at once.
Huh. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Winton, for...
And it made me kind of think like that was actually an upgrade, because we don't think about it, but we've been towing things as long as we've went, hey, look, there's a horse and he can drag something.
Sure.
And how do we attach it to the horse? So when the horse got replaced by the car, we just started tying things to the car.
Yes.
Not any different than the horse.
Yes.
Anyway, a couple more facts before we get off that tangent. The first camping trailer in the USA was 1910. The first tow truck by Ernst Holmes, which Holmes Wreckers,
Yeah.
is 1916. And flat towing is also called dinghy towing or 4-down towing,
4 down.
if that's not a towing name
Right.
for a company somewhere. And obviously it was first by necessity, example, lack of a trailer and lack of a tow rig, and which is then enters into our hot rod talk. Basically, we had a bunch of kids out of World War II, didn't have a pot or a window, and they wanted to go racing. So what's the first thing you do? You go find an old car that's gotten the snot kicked out of it for, years. You shove it into the semblance of a car, but it's not street legal.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that makes the most sense is you take your daily driver
Yes.
and you lash it to it somehow
Yes.
by any means possible. Now, if you were elitist, you had a stick welder and you made a tow bar, because then the car sort of followed the other car.
Sort of.
But it could go down to, read about nylon rope being used.
I got a story about that I'm going to share.
Jumper cables may or may not have been used to tow vehicles. And usually the best ones were when the tow vehicle blew up. One specifically, they were towing their race car with a Henry J, which had a Jeep-derived motor in it.
Yes.
The 4-cylinder in the Henry J went poof. So they pushed the Henry J to the track with the race car. Which makes perfect sense.
Makes great sense to me.
So not only can you tow, but you can push, I guess.
Yeah, guess. Well, and one of the things that I have this distinct recollection for purposes of, there was a necessity out of flat towing that you have these things where the vehicle in the back might not be road legal or fully functional itself.
Yep.
You might only have one driver and two vehicles.
Yep.
The fuel economy, if you're running a big rig, we see it all the time with like oversized load movers. They're running a big rig while they get somewhere and they drop the house and the trailer off. Well, now one of the chase vehicles or one of the clearance vehicles, instead of paying for the fuel, the big rig doesn't care. Right. Yeah. And so now you just lash the big rig to the chase vehicle and you that occupant rides in the big rig and you just ride home together because now you've saved on gas. There are always concerns about, wear and tear on the driveline system. But realistically, in World War II, we had these large A-frame tow bars.
Which, again, was by necessity because we had only so many personnel and we were going to blow up 4 Jeeps today. So we had to have a spare.
Correct. You had to have a spare and you could have a spare.
Yep.
And they had these pintle hitch equipped. And so we had, the trailering conversation, whether it was a cargo trailer, whether it was an ammunitions trailer or the flat tow bar that would allow you would hook it to another Jeep. And I remember seeing imagery and videos of Jeeps getting pulled by other Jeeps and whatnot, which stands out to me and I think is pretty cool.
I think the biggest difference of the legitimacy back in the day of going freeway speeds while flat towing compared to today.
Yes.
It was usually something you did just to get off the highway or to your destination in town. Now, if you had, nads of steel and you just didn't know what you should, that you shouldn't do it any better, which, is kind of what made the country, then maybe you went from coast to coast. But again, we were going slower speeds.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that we can take, a huge Class A motorhome, stick our brand new Jeep behind it, and the Jeep brakes along with the coach. You don't have to worry about the wheels going full lock and skidding down the road. Not that I know anything about that.
Interesting.
Trying to hook up a tow bar back in the day.
Awful. Absolutely
terrible.
Miserable.
Terrible. Floor jacks really make it much nicer.
Oh my gosh.
Because you never can get them lined up perfect.
And that's the thing is that tow bars back in the day were arguably a fixed A-frame.
An A.
They were an A. And in fact, I recall, even having in my possession, because a lot of them were just 2 bars coming off and they would actually attach to the bumper of the vehicle itself.
Again, we go back to the most early ones. Somebody found an old trailer that had reached its demise and you cut the front of it off and then you drilled 2 holes. You welded or bolted or lashed by some means brackets to the front of the vehicle that you're going to tow, and you put pins in, and there you go. You're ready to roll.
Right.
Now, if you really wanted to be elitist, then you worried about lights. Brakes weren't even on the table.
No. You didn't need brakes. Where you were going, you didn't need to brake things. and I was going to say, from the tow bar that I had in my possession actually had a crossbar in it. So hooking it up to the vehicle, it was a one vehicle tow bar, basically.
Yep.
You had to modify the vehicle that you were attaching it to in order to use that A-frame.
Yep.
It wasn't even that the Bose went side to side, which is what becomes popular.
Say that's
at
in
the
the 80s, and they
Correct.
finally started making it. You could adjust those,
right.
and then
They still weren't even telescoping like
No.
they are today.
well,
Right.
today. I mean, you could have the coach and the Jeep off by a foot, and unlatch it, bring it over, pop it on the ball. You pull it forward, and it locks, and boom, you're down the road.
Right.
You never got to experience the amazing experience.
How
of trying
awful
to
it
push
was
on the
of
ball.
trying to actually line it up so that it perfectly kind of attached together.
There's no perfect.
No.
And-
Well, I think it's funny because you're using the term on the ball. That's not even the vast majority of tow bars anymore. They are actually a 2-inch hitch themselves, and they insert into the receiver, and then the telescoping arms. We don't even use the ball hitch on the vast majority of today's modern tow bars.
And then again, if you were an elitist, you went and got a length of chain, and you hooked one chain to your loop on the towing vehicle, and you wrapped it around the A-frame however many times you had to, because it was never the right length.
Right.
And then you wrapped it around the front bumper of that, and that was emergency use only.
That's your safety chain there. That was your safety chain. So here's the thing. So I have this A-frame, but that would require modifying the bumper of whatever vehicle you were putting it on. So here I am as an enterprising young individual
doesn't know that he shouldn't do stuff.
that he doesn't know he shouldn't do stuff. And of course, I grew up with a family who had, we didn't have a lot of limitations ourselves.
And it was a farm, so you're already plateauing.
All the time, right? So when a vehicle was lashed to the tow vehicle in some capacity, you, without the tow bar itself being in position, somebody has to steer the wheels. Because if you're just pulling off of a chain, a tow strap, jumper cables, you
Never done that.
You have to have somebody steering the wheel, because if it has some form of give to it, that rear vehicle will not track behind the tow vehicle. And so I don't know if this was a term that everybody used or just what I was exposed to, but we called it being a dead man.
Yep.
You had to drive dead man.
That's literally what I was going to reference.
Okay. So
And the police really love it when you do that.
Oh, wait till I tell my story about Peach Street.
so I understand the necessity of like, hey, I'm broken down and I'm on a tow strap and there's 15 feet behind us and somebody's got to run dead
15
man.
feet. Oh, shit.
15 feet or
That's
something.
luxurious.
Somebody's
that's when you
got to
need a
ride
purple
dead man,
strap.
and you have to make sure you're braking with the vehicle in front of you, and you have to keep that flat toed
You're gonna love my
vehicle
story.
tracked behind the tow vehicle, right?
Meh.
Okay. So here I am. I'm kind of starting out in
Is this the Comanche story?
It is.
Okay.
It is the Comanche story. So I had just graduated college, and I had not had a very. I didn't know a lot of people in the area at that time.
And you really, really, really like Jeep trucks.
I love Jeep trucks, and my tow rig at the time was a early '90s GM conversion van, and
Old G20.
G20, good old Mark III G20. And with the plush interior velour and the curtains and everything, the whole 9 yards,
Black
which
and
I've
white
been
television.
which I've been looking for
Of
one
course
again.
you have.
So I'm like, okay, I see this Jeep available, this Comanche pick 'em up truck, and I was like, I need to go get that. Has no driveline, has no legalese, way to get it home, and I don't know where my trailer was or what was wrong with my trailer, because I owned my first trailer by this time.
But it had sort of bedsides.
It did. It was solid enough.
It was solid enough. It
Solid
had-
enough.
We could see the dream.
I was buying the dream, right? But I needed to get the dream home. So I had a friend who was not mechanically inclined, not even in the least bit.
Which this helps you when you're trying to do this situation.
Right. Oh, because he's none the wiser of
100%.
the crappy situation I'm about to put him in. It was unfortunately a little over, somewhere between 30 and 40 minutes away. And I went ahead and I throw him in the van, and I throw some nylon tow strap in the van. I don't even remember, and I threw a spare tire in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I went to go and pick up the Jeep. Now, the funny thing about Comanches and Cherokees of the 80s and early 90s, that front bumper was metal, and it had a sharp edge on the back side of it. Mm-hmm. And I went ahead and I wrapped the heck out of the two bumpers. I put the tire, and I backed up to the Comanche. I made him hold it, so now I'm backing up at him, and I back up to the Comanche, and I put them bumper to bumper, and I grab the tow strap, and I lash it around the bumpers in this incredibly cattywampus way. So now I've got conversion van, tire, Comanche, and I'm lashed together with like a...
Oh, you mean he's got an easy job now because you can't rear end the van.
You can't rear on the van.
It's perfect.
Kevin, all I need you to do
It's steer.
is stay behind me.
Yep. Don't even brake.
No braking necessary.
Van's got a big booty. He can do it.
At the van's going to be perfectly fine. So we depart our destination. And I am of the volition of like, you'll figure it out back there. Mm-hmm. He has never done anything like this in his whole entire life. Can you picture the guys from The Big Bang Theory where they literally wear their polo buttoned all the way up to the top of their neck and a pocket protector and everything? That was Kevin. I graduated college with him, an incredible human being, not an ounce of mechanical inclination whatsoever. And I have now thrust him into the dead man position, thinking, I don't know, this seems really straightforward to me. All you got to do is keep the Comanche behind the van. Mm-hmm. I also decided that I was so confident once we left the initial property.
And you got like 15 minutes of experience.
Yeah, he got 15 minutes of experience that I would go ahead and go out and get on the highway.
Makes perfect sense.
This is fantastic. And I'm relying on the taillights of the van to, again, I didn't need lights and I didn't need brakes.
You know those signs on the freeway that says these are some things you should not do on the freeway? Those were written for Neil. Neil at minimum.
Oh my God. I went ahead and I hammered home, and it was appropriately uneventful from the driver's position. I couldn't see the Comanche, and I mean, I would watch it kind of like ebb out to the side of the van and then back, and every once in a blue moon it would kind of go side to side, and we were hammered down. I was fine. I was fine.
Cell phones weren't a thing.
Cell phones weren't a thing.
So he couldn't call you and be like, hey, stop what you're doing.
He was screwed from the moment that I left. I pulled back into town. He gets out of the Jeep. He is visibly shook. He is pale. He wants to throw up. His knuckles hurt from being on the Jeep so badly. And I am like, well, that was good. We got here, guys. We're
Look
fine.
at my new Jeep.
Look at my new Jeep. He is like visibly shook. He wants to puke. He's a little frustrated at me. It was epic. The worst part of this whole conversation, despite the fact that Kevin and I no longer speak, go figure, has only a little bit to do with these shenanigans. Great dude. I wish him the best in life. The worst part was, this was one of those back in the day when tow ropes were made out of woven nylon.
Mm-hmm. As should be.
As I was deconstructing this, conglomeration of,
down to a thread or two.
It was down to a thread or two. I pulled into town, and as he had, swerved or weaved behind the tow rig, it actually worked that tow strap.
Sawing it off.
You were sawing at that tow strap from the edge or the sharpness of those steel bumpers.
It's called a near miss.
Yep, that is 100% the case. If we would have gone any further, that vehicle would have absolutely detached from the van. there was absolutely no brakes. I mean, the Jeep was, the driveline was out of the Jeep. The master cylinder was out of the Jeep. I could have authentically killed my friend.
Poor Kevin.
Poor Kevin.
So I have a similar experience of the dead man, and it was when I had a Oldsmobile and the Delta 88, and my cousin Jason had a Buick Regal.
Great vehicles. Great vehicles.
His Regal died on the side of the road. It was, I don't know if our listeners would, some of them may know this area, but South Hill and Kuntz going towards the Mill Creek Mall in Erie.
Lost me.
So it's this windy, hilly back road that you deadhead facing the mall at Peach Street.
Oh, perfect.
And
It's a great towing road.
Yes.
so he's
Perfect
on that
place to be.
road, and we were both headed somewhere when his vehicle died. So I just pull over, go back. We try to figure out what's going on. Can't get it figured out. He has this, I don't know, 2.5 foot length of rope. And so we tie it to the rear bumper of mine, the front bumper of his, and he's going to dead man it. Mm-hmm. But he has no brakes. He has obviously no power steering at this point. That wasn't even a thing for that vehicle. So it was great going down a hilly, windy road and playing bumper cars.
I was going to say, were you bumpering at that point?
Absolutely.
Because because he's bumping into you and banging the back of your car. Thank God you didn't have airbags.
I'm trying to slow down to get to the light at Peach.
Yes.
And he's just ramming into the back and just kind of.
He's got no choice.
You got that little.
Yep. The
as you come to
whiplash
a
is
stop.
happening.
Turn on to Peach Street. And wouldn't you know it, there's a Mill Creek cop just sitting right there watching traffic. I'm like, oh, well, it is what it is.
Do what it is, yeah.
We just went right past him. I didn't say a word. But yeah, that was the whole way back. And thank goodness those had metal bumpers as well.
Yes,
so
right. And those are two good-sized cars, so I'm sure
they were just boats.
You were just boating each other, whereas the van and the Comanche, the van didn't know the Comanche was back there.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Once I got up and going, it didn't matter. You're going whap, whap. The head, you're getting whiplash in the process.
Oh, it was.
So my good story.
Yes.
is we were in Mount Vernon, Ohio, and I was at a friend's place. We were going to do a derby, demo derby, and we got a call that so-and-so was broke down on the side of the road. So the logical thing is all the kids pile into all the vehicles, and we go up to see what we can do. And like normal, I can't do anything with it. So we got to tow it. And of course, we got like 80 cars on the side of the road.
Brought the whole
shooting matches over there with their four-ways on. So cop pulls up behind us as we're thinking about lashing cars together. And she walks up and she says, oh. She literally goes, oh.
She sighs.
As we got like 15 young people standing on the side of the road, and she's like, I know what you guys are doing. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up the road about 2 miles, and I'm going to turn around. And if you're not sitting here when I come back, I didn't see a thing. Okay. We're like, thank you, lady, so much. So when she pulled away, it was game on. I don't even remember what we were towing, how we towed it, or whatever, but it was go time. Get that thing off the road by any means possible. Bumper to bumper, rope, doesn't matter. Get on the side road, pronto.
Right. Right. And so, of course, the alternative to all of this
Is a trailer
is either a trailer. And if you are not in a position to A, afford a trailer, or B, trailers also require maintenance.
I would say the biggest problem with the trailer is it is just the beginning, because now you need ramps, now you need straps, now you need lights on the trailer. A good trailer has brakes. Well, now we have more brakes to maintain.
You have registration on the trailer.
Registration. Now you have to have a vehicle equipped to tow the trailer.
You have to store the trailer somewhere when you're not using it.
Yep. Now you're friends with everybody.
And the thing is, and this is what I have no reservation, and when we talk about tow dollies, flat towing, or full trailer towing, I am a full trailer towing guy.
Yeah.
When we had the Class A and we were doing some traveling with it and whatnot, I loaded Jeeps onto a full-size trailer. That was my specific approach or interest. I don't mind pulling the ramps out and loading the Jeep. I don't mind that visual as I go up and your headlights are looking at the sky, and you have to then keep the Jeep centered between the wheel wells and not crush them, Jeffrey, in the process of loading the vehicle onto the trailer. Mm-hmm. I don't mind strapping down a Jeep, right? But my dad does. And quite frankly, quite a few of the customers that we have set up flat toe assemblies for them don't want to own a trailer, store a trailer, strap to a trailer.
Crush fenders on the trailer.
Fenders on their trailer.
I mean, the biggest challenge really is it's intimidating to then pull a trailer, because now you have to be mindful of where's the trailer wheels at. It's wider than your vehicle in front of it 90% of the time. So
Can you back up a trailer?
Can you back up a trailer? Are you taking the road cones out with the fender of the trailer because it's wider?
The telephone pole, Neil.
Oh, that is true.
We've seen some stuff,
Or bridges,
done some stuff.
Neil.
You also got to make sure that the stuff you're putting on the trailer.
You got a cough today? Is it you got something something stuck in your throat? Yeah, I was gonna say maybe take a drink. Busy your mouth, Jeffrey.
Sometimes you have to make sure the thing you're putting on the trailer isn't too heavy for the trailer.
Too much.
Dude, I just hit the light pole last year.
No, you didn't. That was 20 years ago. What are
That
you
was
talking about?
fictitious. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Port Toledo, Ohio. I don't know anything about that. Literally drove past it. The light pole is still crippled like this. They've just put a new one up next to it.
That's they should.
Yeah. They've just
Keeping those jobs going.
all right. Nobody has any proof that it happened.
And Charles even said, plus owning a trailer, you are now a moving company for friends and family.
Absolutely.
That's exactly Scott's contention. It's like owning a pickup truck. You become best friends with everybody.
The
Yep.
best part, and one
But only
final,
when they need you.
one final story before we get on to actually how you should do this. So my father-in-law had a 79 F-150 four-wheel drive truck, and it died in the middle of the busy road. And so he walked to the house, and he's like, hey, the truck's dead in the middle of the road. I need someone to assist me to do this. I don't remember why I didn't go, but we're like, Amy can go. That's, my then girlfriend, now current wife. So she takes her Jeep Cherokee, backs up to that, and he had a cool chain. He had a J-hook chain. So he hooked the J-hook around the front axle of the Ford, hooked the other one to the hitch on the Jeep, got in the truck, said, all right, go ahead. And she's like, oh, okay. So she drove away like she was pulling it from a traffic light.
Oh, buddy.
She pulled that Ford so hard, he almost lost grip on the steering wheel. Thankfully, she didn't have to go very far.
Wow.
Right. Well, and that's a chain as well, which
Absolutely.
has no give.
Right?
And we were a society that pulled with chains up until 15
Absolutely.
years ago. Tops.
I mean, if you don't have a older person to tell you a story about a chain that tried to connect dots on a frame from doing this kind of towing, because my dad had that story.
Sure.
I don't know the details enough to tell it, but you could rip a frame in half pretty quick with a chain.
Yes.
So
And and that's the thing. We don't use chains in recovery anymore for a number of
hopefully.
Even when it was chains, and then it was the chain links or chain hooks, metal hooks on the ends, before it finally got away from that completely. Mm-hmm. But you could the webbing with the metal hooks was a
Yes.
thing for quite a while.
Absolutely.
And the metal hooks were almost worse, in my opinion, than just straight chain.
Well, because the metal hooks became a projectile because now that potential energy just when it snapped, now we're shooting projectiles.
Right.
It's
Absolutely.
basically a
I think
slingshot.
that's exciting.
So we have these situations where it is necessary to move a vehicle, and in conjunction with the alternatives, you decide that the benefit of the fact that you can largely just pull the vehicle up to the tow rig, you can hook it up, that now with, kind of the A-frame, the solid A-frame, it eliminates the need for a dead man, per se.
Yeah.
Because the
Unless
A-frame,
you have a worn out steering box.
Well, that's true. And within within reason, because that triangle connection, it largely keeps the vehicle from a minimal side to side sway.
Yeah.
Versus a kind of something that has more elasticity to it. Now,
Like a tire.
and nylon rope.
Nothing wrong with that.
So you've also determined that you do not want to own a trailer, or that towing via a trailer is not to your specific comfort level.
too poor
I
for a
also
trailer.
want to point out your tire conversation doesn't work on most modern vehicles. I've watched it literally just crush front bumpers. Because
we're 35 years
Oh, I
probably
know.
past
but
the point.
But I'm familiar with doing the tire in between. I've done it. But I also have watched people recently.
because our first cars had metal bumpers.
And you know what's funny is that I think that's lost on a lot of people, and generationally. I mean, there are literally people generationally in our generation, because of when we started driving in the vehicles that were available to us, who do not recognize, since you had brought up tow trucks in your fun fact there,
Yep.
push bumpers on the front of tow trucks.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
sling trucks, period.
Sling trucks, 100%. That apparatus that people see on the back of a wrecker, and a wrecker is not a flatbed, because now most tow companies run a flatbed, and if they're not running a flatbed, you'll notice they run what's called a stinger, and a stinger picks up, it goes
On
down,
the
it's a
tires.
hydraulic under the tires.
Right.
But previous and prior to, and look at Towmater from Cars.
Yep.
They had sling trucks.
Yep.
And that was because you could sling under those front metal bumpers.
Yep.
And the push bumper on tow trucks was exactly the objective, that I could get somebody in the dead man position and I could push them off the road.
Yep.
That never happens anymore.
And the
It
sling
can't happen anymore. You destroy the car.
That's true.
And the sling was an upgrade over just having a hook that you hooked on the bumper.
Yes.
On like 30s cars.
Yes,
It had
you're
just
right.
This big spring bumper. You could literally just boop.
They had J hooks, and that was the thing, is that you had a single J hook or you had double J hooks.
Yep.
And it would come down and you'd hook under the vehicle and you'd just pick the vehicle up from there, and it would literally be swinging on the sling.
Yep. And if you had an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive that was stuck in whatever, the little tiny tires on the back of a wrecker, those are dollies. Mm-hmm. And you would jack up the back of the car and you'd stick those little baby tires under the back wheels, and now you have a trailer.
Yes, and now you've made a trailer. And that's if you're lucky, because there's been plenty of conversations and stories of tow operators just needing to get the vehicle out of the space, and they just drug it, which
Absolutely.
binds up your transmission, your transfer case, everything, and ruins your tires in the process, flat spotting them.
Yep.
So, these are all the contrary things to effective flat towing. Now, the downside to flat towing is the fact that the vehicle has to be road or speed worthy of being towed behind.
But does it?
Well, I've been personally thinking about kind of the fun, peculiar nature of flat towing an off-road rig behind one of my vehicles, right? So having an off-road rig that is kind of put together, my own personal 6 weeks of interest is an off-road rig that is really kind of dedicated to off-road and not intending to be a daily driver. Kind of that race car idea that you talked about,
See, my only problem is then you can't break a driveline component.
Correct.
Axle shafts just got off the table.
Correct.
Wheels and tires need to stay inflated.
That's exactly. You can't be aired down and then trying to go out and get on the highway and do 55, 60
Correct.
on the way home.
And now, depending on your area you live, like poor souls in PA,
Sure.
if you suddenly make it more trail than on road, they aren't going to be happy with it having a tire on the road.
I was wondering about that, right? And so that's literally one of the things that as we talk about the concept of flat towing, if I have a vehicle that does not have appropriate titling, registration, insurancing,
Cannot be on the
state
road.
inspection,
cannot be on the road.
Is it a trailer if I have an A-frame or a tow bar hooked up to it?
So what-
Before
Which
he
I
answers-
understand that not all trailers have to be registered as well, right? And that's
But
part
I'm
of
going to
it.
interject and jump to the comments because there's somebody commenting from YouTube who their name on YouTube fits Neil to a T. Days of Pain and Victory
That's awesome.
says, I saw the title of this video and had to click because I literally just posted a video yesterday about flat towing an RV with my truck and it's doing terrible. That trip was sketchy. I don't recommend flat towing a 32-foot motorhome behind a pickup.
Meh.
I want to know more. I gotta go find this.
I
YouTube
might
video.
go find your video. I need you to link because
We too have inappropriately towing RVs.
there's also somebody on YouTube who desperately was saying good morning. I want to make sure we recognize them.
Yeah, we got it. There's a bunch. If we go back, we've got 415 Wilfredo say good morning. We've got Mike Lentz saying morning, guys. We had Bill McWilliams saying good morning. So there's a whole bunch. Joe O'Brien claiming he's a towing expert. LOL. Then we've got Houseman saying part of the reason the original video failed, in his opinion, is that it was titled Everything You Need to Know, but you didn't cover things like backing up or figuring out weight, etc. Let's be honest, the title doesn't matter. It was Neil presenting it. It's flat towing.
I was
Nobody
going to
cares.
say. I was going to say nobody cares about flat towing is what it comes
People
down
are
to.
still asleep somewhere.
But,
Right.
yeah, so you towed a 32 motor home with a truck, and that is literally what that
I want to
YouTuber
see
is
this
saying.
video. Yeah.
Yeah, even House is saying, I got to see this video. Daddy Jeep saying, I towed a 32-foot RV 10 miles behind a farm tractor once. I think that
There's nothing more Warren, Pennsylvania.
Right.
Or upstate.
Right.
Thank you, Rob Morgan.
Isn't that what a 3 points for?
I wish I could say that I've never seen that
3-point
before.
hitch.
The
That's
3-point hitch
exactly
is
what it's
basically
for.
a sling truck.
It is. I mean, well, that's where they got the idea from. So we have this concept, and again, our objective today was not necessarily to get into the technical data. Jeff said we can only talk about how much the video sucked, and
Literally what I said.
and
I was like, we're not talking technical.
Our own experiences and why people may choose one over the other. Do you know what I mean?
Like I said before, it's just we've legitimized flat towing. Now we can do it safely, legally,
At speed.
at speed. It's boring.
I was going to say, it's way less fun now.
Yeah, it's way less fun.
Right.
But back to before we went to the comments, and this may be a Fredism, which,
Oh, Fred. I
which
can't
is
wait
my
for him
dad.
to join us.
And
He was a peculiar cat.
but he
Never-
had such written rules, and I got pounded in my head that if a vehicle set a tire on the road, it had to have a license plate, had to have lights, and it had to have insurance. Mm-hmm. So, if you're towing something that's broken down, it better have those things. It didn't say you had to propel itself down the road, but it had to have a plate, had to have insurance. Should be in your name. Should be. To the point that we had a converted pop-up camper trailer that he had found things to make out of. So we're talking a single axle, the little fat tires that should have been on every 70s and 80s pop-up camper. And we had a 56 Chevy that needed to go a couple miles away. So he wedged this Chevy onto this trailer, which if the front tires were
onto a pop-up camper
Frame.
conversion
yeah.
trailer.
So the front tires were to the front of the box,
How does Fred do this? This is something I would do.
and the back tires are at the back of the trailer. And he had made a gate that was removable, and that's where the license plate was. So in his thought, the back taillights were off the 56 Chevys, which is why we're not flat towing it, because we have no lights. And it wasn't registered. So he straps the trailer skate to the back of the car.
Oh my God.
And we hook it to our K10, and we're going down the road. We make a turn, and why not? There's a state highway patrol.
Of
which,
course.
if no one knows, my dad had a very great relationship.
It a contentious relationship with law enforcement.
So he, of course, pulls in behind us and pulls us over. And I cannot make this up. He walks up to the truck and he says, well, why I pulled you over was I didn't see a license plate for the trailer. And my dad could have murdered him right there on the side of the road. And he says, it's strapped to the back of the car on the tailgate. The cop walks to the back of the trailer, looks at it, comes back. So sorry I bothered you.
Mm-hmm.
No talk about trailers overloaded as heck, because it was. No talk about how it's hanging off both ends of the trailer, because it was. None of that. I don't even think it was like properly strapped down or any of that.
Right.
And my dad wasn't happy that we just didn't get in trouble. He was mad because now he was on his desired course. He was off course.
He was off course. Yes, because he had to take that extra 30 minutes to explain.
Absolutely, because he didn't want to be in traffic, so he pulled off.
Yes.
Now he had to figure out how to get this rig moved around. I was like, oh boy.
Oh, such a Fredism.
I've got a YouTube update. Days of Pain and Victory says, yes, we just wanted the big block out of it, but he had to get it to his house. 120 miles.
I love it.
I want to watch the video.
So, and I can't, oh my God. Okay, we can't go off subject here, but I too, Days of Pain, acquired a 32-foot Barth motorhome.
See, this is a problem, though. You probably didn't fall in love with the motorhome. You fell in love with the motor. Neil fell in love with the Barthness of the motorhome.
I still regret not having that RV. It was one of simply the coolest pieces of automotive history that could never have been. Oh my God, I wanted that thing
and
back.
had a low mileage 454.
Yep,
And
I get it.
Hand winched it onto a trailer.
So
for
I
hours.
appreciate your hillbilly nature to flat tow it 100% because quite frankly, it sounds like it's about the same size. I just happen to have a 35, 40 foot trailer because it too was hanging off the back. I had to strap the ramps up to the back of the bar.
We had no winches at this point.
No winches. I had to hand with a come along and tow straps.
Wasn't it my dad's come along?
It was your dad's come along.
Yeah, may have not survived.
It did not survive. I had a hand come along, which moved about 4 to 6 feet at any given time. And then I would use the tie down straps. I'd extend them, hook on. I would then disconnect the come along. The RV couldn't roll back because it had one singular, 5,000 pound strap, keeping it from rolling off the trailer. And then I would reopen up the come along and bring it another 4 to 6 feet.
We're the shortest come alongs.
They were stupid short. Okay, so here's today's standards, right? And for the boring, unassuming nature of what this subject is, apparently, despite the fact that I think it's super cool. You do have to have a roadworthy vehicle, or you should. And most people are choosing to do that. There is a handful of great manufacturers who have dedicated their product lines to ensuring that you have a safe and uneventful experience.
And not only that, there is some auto manufacturers that literally are knowledgeable of this movement and try to make vehicles that are easier to do this. I remember when it first happened in the 90s, Saturns were like the first vehicles that you could tow behind and not just destroy the vehicle. There was this little secret sauce you did with the transmission, and you were off to the races.
Well, and it's important to note that at one point in time, because there's a lot of misnomer, a lot of misinformation when it came around Jeeps, because how are you supposed to flat tow these old school Jeeps? Some people knew that, and some people were out there removing drive shafts from
absolutely
from the application. A quadra-track all-wheel drive Jeep, you had to reasonably remove the drive shafts.
Yes, unless you were one of those cool guys that had hubs all the way around, and then you just unlocked all four. And
which then was this whole conversation about front and rear manual hubs.
Yep.
And that was a thing. And I remember seeing, in some rags, reading about guys who installed hubs for purposes of flat towing.
Especially on the early Willis vehicles.
There it is.
There it is. There it is. But, so then there was this idea of like, well, do I put the transmission in neutral? Will it tow just fine? Do I put the transfer case in neutral?
Yep.
We had locking steering columns. I still recall people, certainly in high school when they were doing inappropriate flat towing, like, we shared the stories. They did not realize that they need to have the key in the forward position and in order to not have the steering wheel lock engage. Or if the earliest years of RVing with a Jeep behind it, you had to put the key in the accessory position. Well, now your battery was dead when you got to your destination.
Yep.
And you were jumping it, and we didn't have the jump packs that we currently have.
Yep.
We were having to use jumper cables to jump off the RV, or a multi-battery setup.
So, long story short, you should always go in your owner's manual and read what does the vehicle manufacturer suggest you should do in the case of flat towing. Everyone I've ever read in there, it tells you what to do. Some will tell you just abandon all hope, don't do it. All the newer Jeeps, that is not the case. They will tell you like, okay, this is the procedure you do.
Well,
This is how you do it. And then you need to come to a shop and you can properly have the lights on the Jeep work. You can have the Jeep battery being charged by the rig. You can have appropriate tow bar, so you don't have to spend 4 days in a floor jack to get it on the ball. You don't have to have your significant other fear for their life as the dead man anymore. You can lose the brakes on the vehicle you're towing,
right,
to slow down that.
Right. Less wear and tear on your tow rig. And in many of our customer situations, they're able to use an appropriately rated RV. So the chassis of the RV, and this is always a conversation, you can jump on those forums and people be fighting right now about it. But
Absolutely.
you can use an appropriately rated RV for the combination and not put any additional wear and tear. If you're running a Class A on a Freightliner chassis, I got to be honest with you, brakes on a Jeep behind it don't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't care.
If you got a pusher RV, you
Right.
can pretty much tow whatever you want.
Pretty much, right? Until you get into a big extreme trailer, which we've done in the past. But the RV kind of doesn't care. But if you're down into a Sprinter assembly where you've got an appropriately sized Sprinter chassis based RV and you want it not to get pushed by the 4,000 to 5,000 pound towed in the process, the vehicle that you are towing.
Or you have one of those RVs that has a van front that's just a
Class
overgrown
C,
van.
I so desperately want to get a van and a crappy off-road rig. Oh my God. I want this so bad. And I want to flat tow it around inappropriately, but I'm going to have to air up the tires and I'm going to have decent tires. My interest in having crappy tires that are just like, a crack away from exploding on the trail, or, a valve stem that you kicked and inappropriately taped off. I'm not going to be able to do that if I want a flat tow.
Nope.
But I love the idea. I just love the idea of the guy who shows up to the racetrack with a dirt bike strapped to the back of his Lamborghini, or the old school
Romance of it.
The romance of that idea that somebody showed up to the dirt track and they're literally got the tire strapped to the back of the car, their tow car, and the race cars behind them on a flat bar.
Because it takes passion to inappropriately tow something to just be able to go experience it. Where when you got all those things, all the stuff ready to go, it's so easy to go,
It's really just boring. It's just a subject that arguably really the broad majority, and Jeffrey brought this up, in our conversation the other day, and he was unpacking, the topic in general, going, okay, well, how many people do you know who have an RV? Well, first of all, amongst certain groupings, there's very few people who have RVs, right? Yep. Jeff was going, 1-2 hands, maybe, and that would be in a scope of 10 years or so. And then, and how many of them actually want to tow a vehicle,
Correct.
Because as you mentioned, the struggle or strife around towing can lead some people not to want to do it.
Absolutely.
And you have to really be committed to that process. So he's like, is the subject matter really that engaging?
Where everybody's had their vehicle broke down at some point. Everybody's had to inappropriately get something home. Now it's relatable, but now it's not the boring finite
It's not
thing.
the, hey, this blue ox tow bar with this rock hard bumper.
Correct. Because it's a phone call. Hey, what you doing, Jimmy? Oh, my car broke down. Can you come save me? Now you're grabbing what's at your disposal, your jumper cables or your chain or your purple strap or whatever
Right.
you can find.
And in my opinion, if you haven't towed with jumper cables, you haven't towed.
I've never towed with jumper cables.
Are you
I blame
serious?
Fred.
You blame Fred?
Yes.
Quite
I
literally.
had high standards for a young person.
I'm
Quite-
sure you did.
Quite literally last year, this couple was out in a vehicle that did not have their winter tires on it. They still had their summer tires on it. It was one of the first big snowstorms.
Oh, yeah.
They were wildly unprepared. I'm ashamed to admit that I was out there in the
In your
comfort.
Crocs.
And no, I was in my boots. I was in my cab on tractor with the heat on, 4-wheel drive. I was just rumbling along down the road. I was way too prepared for who I am. And
Yep.
and I just stopped in an attempt to try and help them get off the road. And they had a kid in the back and they had groceries. And I'll be honest with you, they shouldn't have been on the road. This is one of those situations.
Yep.
And I was like, and it had plastic bumpers.
Yep.
Right. So I'm like, I would just use the tractor and scoop them up and push them out of the way. I can't. And we were far enough from any particular destinations. And I said, well, what do you got? How can I help you? And he pulled jumper cables out, but of course they're not even like the good,
Absolutely.
robust jumper cables. They were like some Kmart special, blue light specials from back in the day. And they just bing snapped the moment we tried to
Absolutely.
extract them,
Extension cords probably better than jumper cables.
Golly.
Yeah, but have you ever towed a porta potty with a golf cart?
Huh, I did that just this summer.
So did I. Multiple times.
It's off topic a little bit, but I feel like it's fun. It's really hard to do? Roll over a frame with
I did
axles
that
on it.
with you.
I know.
You know what?
You know how many hours we spent trying to roll a frame upside down?
Flat. Yeah, we were trying to use a strap to flip it on its side.
Drug it sideways a lot.
Here's
That's
the piece
funny.
that I need our listeners to recognize again. Is oftentimes so many things I share. I want people to be able to learn from our indiscretions, and I want to spread the message that our modern day, certainly if you are in the concept of RVing, the objective is the fact that you're traveling with your house on your back, the destinations that you have the ability to get to, the kind of the self-sustaining nature and rugged individualism that the road trip creates in the individual. That yes, flat towing does make a lot of sense because you can just kind of get there, you can unhook. No, you can't back it up effectively at all. It's not great. It's easy to jackknife. Farmers have been backing up, freestanding, free turning vehicles for a long time. There's scrub radius that you have to worry about as far as your tires wearing out a little faster than
The
others.
vehicle that's shoving it needs enough.
to
be able
get
to do it.
to get the job done. It can be pricey, but in all said and done, you can go out by the time that you pay for a good quality light, charging system, tow bar, braking system, you could have gone out and bought yourself a brand new beautiful trailer in many situations.
Sometimes though, it's just they're just not confident enough to tow the trailer.
Or the convenience of the fact that they've made the tow bars so, the telescoping nature, the redundant safety systems that literally within 15 minutes of hooking and unhooking some pins, you can be in your towed vehicle and off on your next adventure.
Absolutely.
Your time and energy is not invested in the trailer, the tow dolly, the line, the precision alignment.
I
so
will
on
go
and
as
so
far
forth.
as say, and I am a trailer preferred guy. If you streamline the trailer so that you've made it where there's like little spots for you to drive into and you will boom into a certain spot, so you have the weight figured out, you have proper straps the right length so there's no tail to worry about. If you've streamlined all that so you're perfect for your vehicle that's always on this trailer, I bet you can still unhook flat-toed Jeep quicker.
Yes.
You can unstrap that vehicle and get it off the trailer.
By today's modern standards, and what I will simply say is that today's modern Jeeps, and I'll throw the JKs a little bit of love in this conversation. It's not just the JLs, but honest to Pete, the JK, the JL, and the JT are some of the hands down best possible towed vehicles. It literally requires so little for them to be flat towed effectively and safely and in a manner that retains the utilization and value of both the tow rig and the Jeep being towed.
I'm going to add so little after the initial setup and install.
Correct.
Because there is some technical knowledge involved with the braking systems and all
Absolutely.
of that. But
there's
once you get that set up, it is very easy.
But there's other vehicles you literally just can't do it.
Right.
Period.
Just real fast as we're wrapping up, Jeannie jumped in, said hi, happy fall, y'all. So just wanted to say hi
Absolutely.
to her.
Good morning. I really appreciate everybody's participation in the comments. We don't read everything, but read the vast majority of it. I value people jumping in and having a good time in the comments and sharing and having the conversation with us. I promised I would stay away from the technical minutia that I nerd out on so much, and hopefully
to
we
reward
did that.
him, you should send your cattywampus flat towing story to
Contact CONTACT at sfj4x4.com, or you can text us directly. It's a text only number. Don't call us on this line. Call the shop line if you need something else, but text only 440-855-2100. We'd love to hear from you. Share that cattywampus story. If it's engaging enough, we might, kind of put it on air sometime in the future. Check out Days of Pain and Victory and his video of flat towing a 32-foot or better RV 120 miles.
You know the movie Step Brothers?
Yes.
You guys just become best friends?
Oh, my goodness. I can't wait to check it out
know
myself.
what the motor's for.
What are they going to stick it was a small block or big block? What did he say?
Big block.
He did say big block.
Yeah.
I did this. I get it, man. Or gal or whoever. I get it. I value that and I'm here for it. And I'm going to check it out. That's very cool. And if you're interested in what's happening in our personal lives, I encourage you to hang out following the outro and we'll update you there. But until then, we have a ton of Jeeps on property. Check out Jeffrey and Scott's Tuesday live updates when Jeff remembers to actually do them. And
I've been remembering. I just wasn't here for a year and a half. So
that's I know. I felt every bit of that. And it is fall, technically fall. So we are quickly careening to Christmas because we're just going to skip over Turkey Day for
Haters.
Scott's favorite holiday coming up. Scott's and my wife, honestly.
you're skipping over the best holiday of Halloween.
I know.
He's attacking both of us, Scott.
And with that said, there is a number of trunk or treats. So if there's something that you're participating with your Jeep club or that we can kind of help support in verbalizing or sharing out to the Jeep community, we'd love to know about that as well. And we are also counting down the days to SEMA. And we will factually have the Swamp Donkey #NOTA Restoration represented in the Crown Automotive booth in SEMA 2025. So look for coverage coming up about that.
Trail Fest.
And Bantam Jeep Heritage Festival Trail Fest, which, again, Rob Morgan is heavily involved and a number of our listeners are. And so best of luck to people who are attending that. And I look forward to being there as well. Until next time, Jeep on.
Jeep on.
Jeep on.
So I don't have a whole lot of updates because I was kind of sleeping and relaxing.
I know we were supposed to do more concrete work, and you texted that we're not up for that. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. I got we were supposed to dig down some holes a little deeper to make my general contractor happy.
Well, not the last 6 of 24 holes.
And he said, hey, the skid steer's on a job I didn't know about, and I can't do it. And I was like, you know what? Calling it. Done. Don't feel like it. That's a sign from the universe. So I let me release Jeff from his chains and let him go enjoy weekend like he should. So that happened. So only thing exciting I did was mow the lawn, and the only reason I justified that was I was getting some vitamin D while I was doing it.
Yeah, you got sick.
Air.
You got sick last Thursday or so.
Yep, right at the end of the day on Thursday, I got sick. So it just pretty much. I don't even know what happened this weekend.
Yeah, I can't believe it's stuck in you and Savage at the moment.
Yeah.
I really hope that you guys keep it.
I hope that they're doing all the suffering so that we don't have to.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you for martyring for us. Oh my goodness, Jeffrey, me?
Well, I had a couple things this weekend. We did go to a really fun event in Erie that's for an organization based out of Pittsburgh called Band Together Pittsburgh. And they recently opened a chapter in Erie called Band Together Erie. Obviously the organizers that created it in Pittsburgh also are involved in the Erie chapter, but it is autism in music. So they're supporting anyone on the autistic spectrum with music, and they were doing an open mic night at Keller's Magic and Comedy Club. And this was really fun for me because I have not been to it since it became Keller's. It used to be Junior's Last Laugh. I used to go there all the time. Now there's a whole history of magicians from Erie.
Yes.
And
it's a really cool tribute to Erie history.
It is super fun. I just reading all the history through the wall or on the walls and everything, but a super cool event. They're doing a great thing for the people on the autistic spectrum. There was a wide variety of, I guess, range of spectrum up on stage, from barely functioning all the way up to high functioning. And it was really cool to see the differences there. So great mission they're doing. And besides that, they wanted to collab with our nonprofit. That was really what got us even aware of the event.
Sure.
But besides all of that, we did a thing. Kristen's Laser has been really cool. We've done a lot of good things with it.
Yeah.
And we've been getting a lot of requests to do other things that we couldn't do with that laser.
Okay.
So, as of yesterday, we pulled the trigger and financed the next level of laser.
Wow. Congratulations, you guys.
Be doing and then waiting on that to show up, and she gets to experiment now. What that really means, because acrylics are been what her favorite thing to work with is that we can now do any range of color of acrylics. So before blues, light colored, or transparent acrylics were not possible. So now all of those will be. Clear acrylic is a possibility. It opens up a lot of options for her to craft with. And then also it increases the speed and efficiency.
Sure.
Because now like a tumbler would take her 3 to 4 hours, should take about 20 minutes.
Wow.
So a big difference. Financially, it was triple the price of the first laser.
Sure.
So it's a huge investment.
Sure.
Hopefully it pays off. But we sat and looked at what people were asking for, and we added things up. We're like, hey, the first couple months of payments on this would be covered already if we could do these options.
Sure.
So that's what allowed us to pull that trigger.
That's awesome. That's very cool. And we've talked about different equipment and different aspects of our own personal life, and I think that's one that I know that other Jeep groups have reached out to you guys, and you've made some trail rated badges and stuff for them before.
That was actually one of them was asking for colored versions of the badges, and we simply couldn't do the colors they wanted. And then there's another nonprofit in Erie that wanted her to do jewelry, but wanted it in blue and yellow, and because that's their colors.
Sure.
And blue and yellow were colors that we cannot do with the current laser. So we just, a lot of things kept adding up, and it's like, you know what? Now's the time. Let's try something new. And
yeah.
Is that physically larger as well?
Oh yeah. It's
Jeff the builder is on the job.
No. This one comes with the enclosure, so I don't have to build anything. It's not an open frame. It's a CO2 laser instead of a blue diode laser. So,
okay.
Yep.
I'll just pretend I know what that is.
Just different forms, because there's fiber lasers, there's CO2, there's infrared, there's each style laser does different types of materials.
Do you know? I think it's so interesting, and it's just funny how both my own interests and my own kind of world exists. My brother-in-law, and whether you would recall this or not, my brother-in-law works for one of the country's largest laser marking companies out of Pittsburgh, and so like on the top end of the scale, I know the stuff that he works with, and it's interesting because it actually is a company that was started in the early 1900s in the automotive community, and it was dot peen marketing, which is basically the equivalent of taking a stamp with the the little embossed piece and hitting it with a hammer. So dot peen marking was how they put serial numbers on parts 100 years ago.
Yep.
And that company has existed just in time, and as technicalities have changed, they changed how they mark things.
Yeah.
And so he did a ton of lasering for me, and he works on the biggest, most extreme stuff, and he does absolutely work for Cummins, Stellantis, Bosch, all that kind of stuff, doing finite laser marking. That's where their lasers are. And I think it might be kind of fun. Not that it's one of the things we have to kind of keep in mind, and maybe, you guys should go visit him sometime, since it's just north of Pittsburgh, basically. Kind of interesting, kind of similarities there. But the home, yes, Rob, it is actually. That's impressive. Good for you.
Yeah, that's pretty good that he pulled that out.
Yeah, for sure. In our comments, Rob is listing the business off. So, anywho, my own experience, as I've kind of expanded upon, I am in my 6 weeks of kind of re-embracing my athletic pursuits and enjoying kind of that experience with my child. We just raced from one point to another all day Saturday. Scott doesn't know, nobody was here except for Jeff on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I swung through a couple times, which was okay. And, touching base with Jeff, and he held it down. Thank you for doing that for us and managing. There was a flow of people, pretty decent flow of people. But other than that, I raced from one of my kids' pursuits to another.
I was going to say, every time you swung in, you had like 30 seconds and you were running right back out the door.
Yeah. And then I did, because of said pursuit, I did want to kind of be able to concentrate on some of my things that make me happy. And so I managed to come in. And I spent some time doing stuff that makes me happy here at the shop, and honestly put some lights on my lawnmower because I need to be able to mow at night, because I find that to be a pretty underwhelming thing, but it's required, and my mower didn't come with lights on it. So I am, in fact, the guy who's got LED pods fully wired onto my lawnmower. I'm adding accessory lighting. In the most SFJ way possible, trying to over make it all that much nicer.
I think it's really funny that you're adding lights on top of all the maintenance that you do to your tractor. And we just had a conversation with Greg about how little maintenance Scott and I do to our tractors.
Yes.
You weren't here for this, Scott, but there was absolutely a conversation, and Greg's like, haven't you ever done this with your tractor? I'm like, no, Greg, I haven't.
No, it gets better. When we're trying to mow the grass, I was like, hey, Aiden, just because, I don't want to be out here 80 hours. You take the little deer and go mow, and I'll take the big deer and go mow the back. And he starts it up. He goes up there. He goes to engage the deck, and it dies. I'm like, what's going on? I had forgotten. For whatever reason, now you have to be slightly giving it throttle or forward motion while you engage the blades. Otherwise, it kills the tractor. I don't know.
Your PTO is getting weak.
Something.
Yes. Yeah. It was this whole conversation on Friday about a certain aspect of the tractor and belts and stuff like that. And Greg is, of course, at the mindset. It's like, well, haven't you done this? Like,
I put a belt on it because it broke.
Jeff's going, no, I've never done this because my tractor hasn't broken, and I didn't need to do this.
And he's like, you're supposed to do this every so long.
Yes.
And don't care. It works. Why am I going to?
And I obsessively do it. Joe Bryan's asking if it was nacho light. lights. They're
not your lights.
I had a set, and I decided that I was going to put them on something else. I decided that my nighttime mowing escapades were not worthy of my nacho lights.
Not cool like my deer that came with hella lights from the factory.
Oh, did it come with hella lights?
Yeah.
Wow.
That is something. But I did absolutely obsess over, and I was looking at, I can't begin to tell you how many hours it took for me to install these couple pod lights. I did use Nightlight, just so people know. When I go for a cheap Amazon light that I think flat out works, and I've talked about it on some of my other content and whatnot, I use Nightlight when I'm looking for a cheap alternative, and
Harbor.
and as far as the Road Shock lights, I actually looked at Road Shock. I'll be honest with you, I did not go for that brand. I went with Nightlight, and so anyways, but I obsessively had to make a wiring harness, and so everything is heat shrinked and everything has weather pack seals, and I'm trying to run it together. And
You built a wiring harness that's going to outlast the lights.
right. That's exactly what it was. So I had a nice time doing that, and then equally for purposes of kind of this things that are inherently a crossover between personal and professional, there's some old projects that we need to do things with that are lingering about our facility, and I think that it would benefit both Greg, our lead performance mechanic, and ourselves if we just get rid of the LSXJ.
Yep.
And so I brought the LSXJ around front of the shop. So folks who are listening and viewing and hanging out, I'm going to do once I have Greg's weigh in on certain things, I'm going to do a hard push, and we're going to sell the LSXJ if you were unaware. Super, super cool Jeep that once was Jeep, if you will. It's long armed, built 8.8, built Dana 30, built transmission, slip yoke eliminated. And it's set up for a V8, but will come without said V8 to my knowledge.
Yes.
And we're not going to work on it. That's the caveat. You're buying this for parts or your own personal piece. We sell a lot of our own personal vehicles just because we move on to other projects and whatnot. Our caveat, the individual buying this, we will not work on it. We want
Greg wants it to go off into the sunset.
Right.
Yep.
It's
He
kind
doesn't
of
wanna
like
see it again. Basically.
correct. You know what I mean? It's that idea of like, hey, I'm ready to part with this thing. And I, as a hoarder, I oftentimes ask you guys to help me dispose of things because I myself cannot make it go away. And that's what we're going to be doing to this Jeep, I believe. So we'll be pulling the engine for another project that Greg has in mind, to my knowledge. And then he wants that to go off to somebody else and for it to become their baby. So I made sure to move that around with some other projects and stuff that we have here on property.
I do have one last piece too. Today is actually Morgan, my son's birthday. Turned 10 today. So
happy birthday to Morgan. So yeah, look for us to outline some of these projects and some of these special things that we'll be doing here in the coming fall. And I suppose without further ado, Jeep on.
Jeep on.
Jeep on.